You're standing on a busy street when a police siren suddenly echoes from a distance. Turning your head and expecting the usual black and white car rushing towards you, but instead, a bright red and blue vehicle stops right in front of you. For a second, it feels almost like a joke. In real situations, even a brief moment of confusion like this has led to delayed reactions on the road. So here's the question. How did we all learn to recognize a police car without even thinking? Your brain recognizes a police car faster than you realize. And this happens long before you even read the word police. In fact, studies show the human brain can process visual images in about 13 milliseconds, which is far quicker than reading text or analyzing details. That means when a car with a certain shape and color combination appears, your mind reacts almost instantly without conscious effort. You may have experienced this while driving, when you slow down before fully realizing why, simply because something looks familiar ahead. This reaction is not learned in a classroom or explained step by step, but built slowly through repeated exposure over time. A person who has seen police vehicles for years develops a mental shortcut where color and shape become signals of authority and caution. Even a child who cannot read yet can often point at a passing patrol car and understand what it represents. That is because the brain does not need words when patterns are strong enough to stand on their own. And this raises an interesting idea that most people never stop to question. If we all recognize these cars so quickly without being taught directly, then where did this visual pattern begin? In the early 1900s, police cars did not stand out at all, because almost every vehicle on the road looked exactly the same. At that time, more than 90% of cars produced, especially the famous Model T, were painted black for practical reasons. Black paint dried faster than other colors, which helped factories move vehicles through production lines more efficiently. This decision was not about style or identity, but about saving time and reducing manufacturing complexity. As a result, a police car driving down the street looked no different from any other car around it. Imagine standing on a corner during that time, trying to spot law enforcement without any clear visual clue. You would not rely on color or markings, but only on behavior or uniforms, which were much harder to notice from a distance. This meant that early police vehicles had no built-in advantage when it came to recognition or presence. Uniformity was not a design choice made by police departments, but a limitation created by technology and production needs. However, once the automotive world began to change and colors became more common, this lack of distinction quickly became a problem. Because when everything looks the same, nothing stands out. And that is the last thing a police force wants. Police departments needed vehicles that people could recognize immediately without confusion, hesitation, or second guessing. At the same time, budgets were limited, so any design had to be simple, practical, and easy to maintain. The answer came in the form of a high-contrast color combination that would become iconic over time. Black and white created a strong visual difference that the human eye could detect much faster than a single solid color. Research shows that high-contrast patterns can improve recognition speed by up to 40% in normal lighting conditions. This meant drivers could identify a police car more quickly, even from a distance or at higher speeds. There was also a practical benefit because repainting or modifying these vehicles remained relatively simple and cost-effective. For example, if a car needed to be used for undercover work, its appearance could be adjusted without major effort. So this design was not chosen because it looked official or traditional, but because it worked better than other options, It was a functional decision that balanced visibility, cost, and flexibility in a rapidly changing world. But even with improved visibility during the day, another problem remained unsolved. In busy urban environments, relying on sound alone is not always enough, especially when every second matters. A police siren may seem loud and clear, but in cities filled with tall buildings, sound behaves in unpredictable ways. Audio waves can bounce between surfaces 5 to 10 times, which makes it difficult to identify where they are coming from. As a result, a driver may hear a siren, but still look in the wrong direction, losing valuable time in the process. Studies suggest that people can misjudge the direction of sound by as much as 30 to 60 degrees in these situations. At the same time, the average human reaction time is around 1 to 1.5 seconds, even under normal conditions. If a person hesitates for just half a second longer than usual, the risk of a collision increases significantly. So the solution was not to make sirens louder, but to make vehicles easier to see before confusion begins. Bright colors and reflective materials were introduced to improve visibility, especially in low light conditions. These designs allow drivers to identify emergency vehicles instantly, even when moving quickly or surrounded by traffic. At this point, color was no longer about identity or tradition, but about safety and reaction time. The real goal was simple but critical, which was to make sure people could see the vehicle before it was too late. While many people believe police cars are built for speed, their true advantage comes from something far less visible. In reality, these vehicles are often heavier than standard cars, sometimes by 300 to 800 pounds. This added weight comes from reinforced structures, equipment storage, and specialized systems designed for demanding use. Their batteries and electrical systems are also upgraded, allowing them to handle 2 to 3 times the load of regular vehicles. This is necessary because officers rely on radios, computers, lights, and other tools throughout their shifts. Even with these upgrades, a police car is not always faster than a civilian vehicle in a straight line. In many cases, modern sports cars can easily outperform them in terms of speed and acceleration. So the real strength of law enforcement does not come from a single vehicle chasing another down the road. Instead, it comes from communication and coordination between multiple units working together in real time. During a pursuit, several vehicles can be deployed within minutes, often ranging from 3 to 10 units. Each officer shares information through radio systems, allowing them to predict movements and block escape routes. This creates a network that surrounds the situation rather than relying on one car to do everything alone. From the perspective of the person trying to escape, it may feel like the entire system is closing in at once. That is because it is not just one vehicle reacting, but an organized structure responding as a whole. So when you think about police cars, it is important to understand that their power does not come from speed. It comes from how they connect, communicate, and operate together as part of a larger system. And that changes the way we understand what we are really seeing on the road. Police cars were never designed to be the fastest thing on the road. They were designed to be the first thing you notice. And in a world where seconds decide everything, visibility becomes more important than speed. Because sometimes being seen at the right moment can make all the difference. As you can notice, even the simplest things around us often hide deeper reasons we rarely think about. One simple fact at a time, that's how we understand the world. Like, subscribe to Simple Why and tell us your question below. Your why could be our next video.